I took the HESI A2 in February of 2024 and made an 87 overall in 10 days. The tips and tricks I'm about to show you is what helped me and what I know will help you make a better score than even I did. HESI A2 is an entrance exam for prospective nursing students. Not every college or institution requires you to take a HESI, but many in the United States it does. HESI is an acronym that stands for Health Education Systems Incorporated and consists of about 6 to 9 different sections. Depending on your school's grading rubric, they may determine that you need to make a score overall, a score in certain sections only, or what have you. So make sure that you're checking with your school before you start your studies, as you may be studying for a section that does not matter if you get into your nursing program. For me personally, I only had to study 4 different sections. That is what was pulled when my nursing department determined who would make and who would not make the cut for nursing clinicals this semester. I was accepted into my nursing program and am starting clinicals soon, but I have been through all of the prerequisite phase. I want to say that if you have followed your calling to become a nurse, to get into the healthcare field, you're brave, you're to be commended, and I'm so proud of you for following that calling, because nursing is a rigorous and competitive program. And if you've clicked on this video, I'm going to make sure that you are a part of it. So the first thing that you need to assess before you start studying, before you start researching, before you start your prerequisites, before you do anything, is make sure that you're in the right mindset. Now, what do I mean by that? This is something that you know you want to do before it's ever on your badge, before it's ever on your resume, before it's ever a part of your distinction. It's within you first. It's a mindset, it's a mentality, it's a thought process that you have before you ever start a clinical or prerequisite. So you want to make sure that you are thinking as if you are a healthcare professional. What type of mindset am I encouraging you to develop? Your prerequisites and your HESI studies is just a preface. So as you go through your prerequisites, look at every obstacle as an opportunity to step into the mindset of a healthcare professional. A competent and balanced nurse is able to manage their emotions while also managing their analytical skills. You usually never just get a skill. A skill is never handed to you. What normally happens is you are handed the opportunity to practice that skill. Keep this in mind, because it will help you not only be able to stay motivated in your studies, but also help you to enjoy not only your prerequisites, but studying for the HESI. Now that you're in the right mindset, let's go ahead and get into my top 3 resources that I used to make an 87% overall on the HESI. So the resources that I'm providing is coming straight from my eGuide Roadmap to Nursing that is linked below in my description. There is a limited time only 50% off code that will expire soon. So make sure you purchase it and you can follow along with me. One of the resources that I put in that eGuide is NURSEHUB. I cannot stress enough how much NURSEHUB has helped me not only ace my HESI, but feel balanced and organized as I'm trying to study for it. NURSEHUB is a website that you can go on. It does have a subscription, and it organizes all the sections of your HESI A2. Every single section you can ever think of, it organizes it. It has practice tests. It has everything you need to make sure that you are filling the gaps in your knowledge. As I said in the beginning of the video, I studied for the HESI for 10 days, but really it was less than 10 days, because the first 2 days I didn't know where to go to get a comprehensive study map of all of the sections that I needed to pass. And a lot of times I would be on Crash Course, or I would be on Nurse Shay here on YouTube, in different areas, and still not feeling like I was really grasping the material, because half the time I'm trying to figure out where I need to get it from. NURSEHUB saved my grade, and I believe wholeheartedly that it will save yours. I paired this with the app GOODNOTES. GOODNOTES is basically a digital notebook and flashcard app that allows you to make your own flashcards and notes, and it's all in one place. It's a free option for GOODNOTES, but I personally got the subscription for it because it was more comprehensive. You're able to have more things in their storage. And so for me personally, it worked to have more. Also, I'm currently using that as I'm going through my clinicals. So that is something that I highly recommend to use in connection with NURSEHUB. Also, as I use the flashcards in GoodNotes, they have a smart study feature that will allow you to use the Leitner system. If you don't know what the Leitner system is, it's one of the techniques that I talk about in my e-guide. And it's a study technique made by Leitner, who categorized it as making a stack of flashcards, and as you go through them, separate them from what you know and what you don't know. As you finish, you go back through what you don't know. Again, separate it in between what you do and what you don't know until there is not any cards in the don't know pile. This is basically what GoodNotes does on a digital level. It will allow you to have your flashcards that you have made and click whether you got the answer right or you got the answer wrong. And as the Leitner system describes, if you got it right, it will not serve back up to you. If you got it wrong, you'll see it in the next 5 to 10 flashcards so that you can really learn the knowledge. And so for that, I really appreciate GoodNotes. You know, sometimes you don't always have the time to sit in a quiet place and study. We live busy lives. We're trying to go to school and advance our careers in healthcare while also managing families and managing our own homes and going to work. And so I didn't always have time to sit on NURSEHUB. So whenever I had the chance, I would just pull up my phone, go on the GoodNotes app, and use that smart study feature, and it really helped me be able to pass in 10 days. The last resource that I'll share with you is Quizlet. Anybody that's been in school knows what Quizlet is, but if you don't know, it's an app that houses different study notes that are made by teachers, students, professors alike. And so a lot of resources that I use to cross-reference my knowledge after using NURSEHUB, after using GoodNotes, is Quizlet, because Quizlet is coming from a different source. It's being written differently. There's different verbiage. And so it was a really good tool for me to be able to say, okay, I'm used to this verbiage and I'm used to me rewriting it. Let me see if I can apply my knowledge to a completely different style of writing in a completely different area. So I do have links in my description below that will allow you to study anatomy and physiology, your math, and everything below. It is in the description, and Quizlet is free. So whenever you click them, you'll be able to go through it on your own and cross-reference your own knowledge and studies. I have study habits that I didn't realize I was doing that helped me personally. I'm somebody who has a short attention span, and if it's not interesting to me, I'm just not going to be able to focus on it. I'm just not. And I know that there are other people out there just like that. Some of my peers in my prerequisites had some of the same issues that, you know, it's interesting, they want to be a nurse, but some of these more detailed and more complex topics that don't necessarily intrigue them were hard to grasp. And even though they were essential, it wasn't interesting. And sometimes making things interesting isn't always the way. One thing that I've been able to research is different study techniques that are made by physicists and physicians alike. We went over the Leitner system earlier, but one more that I want to share with you is the Feynman method. This method was created by Richard Feynman, who is a Nobel-winning physicist, who described the study method as this. You take a complex topic, you learn it, and you re-explain it as if explaining it to a child. Doing that was a game changer for me, because not only did it make it more interesting and it set a goal for me outside of just passing a test or passing an assignment, but it also identified gaps in what I didn't know and what I didn't understand. And so usually when you can take a complex topic and break it down in a way that is easily explainable, not only can you go from complex to simple, you can go from simple to complex. And so being able to kind of go back and forth is something that helped me a lot in my studies, especially in some of the more complex topics like microbiology, which can get really in depth, or anatomy and physiology, which is just a lot of knowledge in general. And there are plenty of other study techniques by physicians and physicists in my e-guide that help you with time management. They help you be able to learn on the go and study right before a test. So be sure to check that out. Not only do I attribute these study techniques to my high HESI score, but also to my grades afterwards, because I was very nervous about my grades just like you, and coming out knowing that I made an 87% and that I have the opportunity to pursue my dreams of being a nurse. That's a feeling that I want for each and every one of you. And not only do I want that for each and every one of you, but I believe that you can do it and you are capable. You just have to put in the work. It's nothing but plan and execution. If you're able to put yourself in the mindset of a healthcare professional, then you have half the battle already. So during the hours and hours of research I put into this e-guide, including my own personal attestations or testimonies, I came across a lot of frequently asked questions when preparing to take the HESI, including questions I've asked of my own. So just to go over a few of those. So this is something that you may want to confirm with your school, because the testing centers are able to tell you how it's formatted and how you'll be able to take it. For me personally, and this has been an experience for many, the test is timed, but it's not timed per section. The test is timed overall. Not only was it not timed per section, I was able to pick which sections I wanted to do first. This helped me when going into it, because not only did I know which sections I wanted to do first as opposed to last, it also put my mind at ease, just because knowing that I knew that I didn't have to be prepared for whatever was thrown at me. I had a little bit of control over the situation. Also, after I completed each section, the score for that section immediately showed. And so as I was passing each sections with 88s and 89s, I was able to feel more at ease and more comfortable taking the test, because I was able to reaffirm myself that not only did I put in the work to study for it, but I am putting myself in a position to become a nurse, and I had a really good chance of doing so, and I did. So if you're concerned about the format of the test, more than likely that may be what the case is for you, but you're going to want to check with the testing center at your chosen institution. For the math portion of the HESI, I had this question myself, and I also saw a lot of questions not only from my peers but online. The biggest question I was asked for the math portion is there a calculator? Yes. Again, check with your institution's testing center. If you're doing anything with decimals and calculations, be sure to input a 0 beforehand. So if you're doing 0.15 times 0.32, you're going to want to type into the calculator 0.15 times 0.32, because if not, you're not going to get an answer and you're going to feel like the calculator is broken or what have you, but it's not. You do have to put a 0 in front of the decimal, so keep that in mind as you're taking the math portion. What level of difficulty should be expected when taking the HESI? For me personally, the HESI is the basics. It is an entrance exam, so you want to keep that in mind as you study, and not stress yourself with knowing every single thing as if you are sitting for the NCLEX, for example. It is an entrance exam, so you're going to want to make sure that everything you've gotten from your prerequisites and everything that you've gotten from your personal studies and through studying for the HESI has been retained. For math, some of the things that I encountered was a lot of fractions and decimals. Fractions and decimals were a big part of the test. You're going to want to know how to add and subtract fractions. You're going to want to know how to multiply fractions and divide fractions, as well as convert fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. That was a big part of the test. Some of the things that threw me for a loop and that were in NURSEHUB but I did not think was that important was Roman numerals. So I did study that, thankfully, and Roman numerals were a part of the test that again caught me off guard. Another thing that caught me off guard during the math portion of the HESI is military time. Military time is something that I'm familiar with, and I did not feel the need to study through NURSEHUB, only because, you know, once you kind of know how to calculate military time, you're good. You never need to really know how to do it again. But what I will say for military time that threw me for a loop was not the calculation, but the way you had to input it. So, for example, one of the questions that I had in the math portion of the HESI, convert 1 o'clock p.m. to military time. While that answer is obvious, it was knowing how to input the zeros. And again, this is something that they show in NURSEHUB. They will go through military time and how to type it in. So beware, make sure that you're knowing how to type in these numbers on NURSEHUB, as well as how to type in the Roman numerals, because everything on the math section was not multiple choice. For the vocabulary portions, they are going to have some general medical terminology, so make sure you're brushing up on that. Again, Quizlet and NURSEHUB are great resources to do that. For the grammar section, you know all about your commas, you know all about the different areas of grammar, so that when they ask you to input words or when they say what part of the sentence is incorrect, you know. One thing that I studied a lot was the different clauses. When I brushed up on it in NURSEHUB, a lot of the things that I have forgotten was dependent clauses, independent clauses, things of that nature. Make sure that you are staying aware of what your knowledge gaps are so that you can fill those and not have to worry about it coming up on the test. So with all of that being said, I think that you are well prepared to take the HESI and pass it. I want to know when you're taking the HESI down below in the comments, or if you use any of these tools or my e-guide to support your studies, please let me know in the comments down below. Again, my e-guide will teach you not only how to pass the HESI in 10 days or less like I did, it will teach you how to develop the mindset you need as a healthcare professional more in depth. It'll teach you how to balance your relationships as you finish your prerequisites and study for the HESI, as well as give you a comprehensive list of scholarships that you can apply for this year. So I'm so looking forward to this being a resource for you. I'm so excited for your journey, and I cannot wait to see you in the healthcare field with me. Make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned, as I am documenting my journey from finding out I got accepted into the program to going to my orientation as of tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the comments in the next video. Congratulations on becoming a nurse.